I was married to a murderer, and this is my story. Part 1.
Story time of how she found out that the man that she got married to is a murderer and is currently serving over 40 something years in prison right now. You guys, we need to watch the story time because I also know how she found out. Like, who did he own her life? I feel like that's number one question. Who did he own her life? You guys, let's watch the story time together. Grab your popcorn together, and I'll see you at the end of the video.
I was married to a murderer, and this is my story. Part 1. So I'm going to take you guys back to the main beginning. About 16 years ago, I met my said ex-husband that's now serving 45 years in prison. I was 16 years old, and he was 17, I think. I was a junior in high school whenever we met, and we had been dating for about 2 or 3 months whenever I found out I was 16 and pregnant. Being a teen mom was not for the weak. It was super hard. If I had not have had family and love and support, I would have never been able to overcome that. But throughout my pregnancy, things were pretty good. He didn't go to school. It wasn't very common back then, but it is now. He was pen foster. So my parents wasn't real fond of the fact that he didn't go to school, but they wasn't fond of a whole lot of shit, so there's that. But things were pretty, I wouldn't really use the word normal because I hate to use that word, but things were pretty good in the beginning. Towards the end of my pregnancy, my parents ended up letting him move into my house at my mom's. We moved into the basement. They thought it would be easier instead of the baby traveling back and forth for us to just stay at my house. We had a baby shower. Things were great. We had a lot of love and support. Like, for me to have been 16 and pregnant, my family and friends and my mom's friends and family and his family all come together and made the best of the situation. I gave birth to my oldest daughter. I was 17, and he was in the delivery room. My mom was in the delivery room. Things were really good, like I said. A couple red flags here and there throughout my pregnancy, but nothing alarming. After we brought Zoe home, she was born on December 15th. Christmas was 10 days later. We had Christmas at my house, and we had Christmas at his family's house. After Zoe was born, I co-opted. I had her in December, so I didn't go back to school until around February. And I got to leave school at 10 or 11 o'clock, and he watched Zoe while I went to school. I co-opt here in our county. That just means you work while you're a senior, so you can leave work early. Or school. You can leave school early. This is when things started to get fishy. I would come home from school at around 11:30, and find him still in the bed. Now, most people might not think, that's a big deal. Oh, it's only 11:30, whatever. Well, he didn't have a job, and he was supposed to be watching our daughter, and there was some days I would come in, and she would be crying in the crib while he was asleep. Follow me for part 2. I was married to a murderer. Yep, you got that right. I was married to a man who is now serving 45 years in prison, and this is part 2 to my story. If you haven't already, go watch part 1 so you know where we left off at, so you're not lost wondering what the hell is going on. Needless to say, this became an ongoing issue with him staying in the bed, not getting up with the baby, me going to school still, trying to get my high school diploma, up till, I don't know, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning with the baby. After being up till 4 o'clock in the morning, then I got to get up and go to school. Once I was getting close to graduating high school, my dad finally told him, like, look, you've mooched off of me long enough. You're going to have to get out and get a damn job. And his story was always, oh, I can help my dad at his shop pull transmissions and yada yada. Little backstory, his dad and my dad worked on transmissions at the time. Not together, they had 2 separate shops. But he didn't want to work for his dad, and he didn't want to work for my dad. Like, my dad told him, hey, come out here and work. I'll pay you half, the money. You pull the transmission, I'll build it, you put it back in. But no, he didn't want to work. He didn't want to do shit. He just wanted to lay around and be lazy. Like, I hate to be bluntly honest about it, but that's just the truth of the fact. So this is when a lot of our problems started, is when I'm trying to get an education to where I can go somewhere in life, and you can't even watch our kid while I go to school for 4 hours. So at this point, my dad was like, okay, you've got to get a job, like I said. And my dad worked night shift, so he was like, I'll watch the baby until Tiffany gets home from school. I finally graduated high school in June of 2011. Super proud of myself for that. Walked across that stage holding my little baby in my arms. She was 6 months old, and I had never been so proud in that moment. What does my dumbass do after that? You know, he don't want to get a job. He don't want to do nothing. I decided it would be this magnificent idea to marry his dumbass. Yep, you heard that right. Follow me for part 3. I was married to a murderer. Yep, you got that right. I was married to a man who is now serving a 45-year prison sentence for murder. Haven't seen parts 1 and 2, go back and watch them so you know what kind of crazy mess we're about to dive into. Did I really want to marry his dumbass? Yes and no. I wanted to do what I thought was the right thing to do. So you got to think, my parents had 3 kids, and they've been together for over 30 years. I mean, granted, they fuss and fight a little bit, but they had a pretty good relationship. His parents are still together. How? I don't know, but that's a time for a different story. But, so I'm coming from my family being together, his family being together. I am 18 years old at the time, and I think this is the right thing to do. Looking back on it now, I know a lot of the reason that I wanted to get married was because 2 of our best friends at the time, so 2 couples, had just recently gotten married. One of them got married while I was pregnant with my oldest daughter, and the other one got married after I had the baby, and I was in her wedding. And the 6 of us were thick as thieves, so we all had a baby close to the same age, and I don't know, they were older than me, but I guess I thought, you know, my parents have been together, his parents have been together, my best friends are getting married, and boy, was that the biggest fucking mistake of my life. Here we are, trying a wedding plan, and he is just, like, not into it at all. He doesn't even want to buy me a ring. I know, red flag number 50,000 at this point. But I was young, I was naive. He finally bought me some $20 ring from Walmart, and I know, money, like, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes we be struggling. $20, put a ring on your finger if you love somebody. Hey, I think that's amazing. But he just wasn't it. Like, he didn't want to do it. But he was going to do it because he knew that he was pretty much stuck with me. And I knew that I was pretty much stuck with him. So we're planning this big, luxurious wedding. Not really, but for our little small town, I mean, it did turn out to be a cute little wedding. But while we're planning this wedding, it's just like things are red flag after red flag. And I keep trying to push it into the back of my mind, like, it's okay, everything's going to be all right. So October rolls around, and it's the night before our wedding night. I get a message from somebody, and it's been a long time ago, so I don't remember the exact details to the message. But they pretty much told me that he had been cheating on me. What do? Oh, my man would never. It almost makes me want to gag telling the story, I swear. My man would never. Like, that was literally the motto I had. Because I thought that the sun rose and set in this man's ass. Why? I have no idea. Put a ring on it, honey. I married him. Yep, sure did. And I will say, I think that was when he had the hook in me. But, honey, he reeled that son of a bitch in. Like, this is when shit really starts to hit the fan. So, if you want to hear more about my story, follow me for part 4. I was married to a man who's now serving 45 years in prison for murder, and this is my story, part 4. 10 days after we got married, I got into a really bad car accident with my best friend, and long story short, I had to spend a week in the hospital and extensive surgery done on my leg, and guess what? He came 2 times. Yep, my mama's my ride or die, her and my sister, but they were by my side the whole time. And no, you guessed it right, he did not take care of the baby either. When I finally got discharged from the hospital, I had to come home on a walker because I had broke my femur bone, had pins and rods and all that good stuff in there. So I had to completely learn how to walk again. I went from a walker to crutches to a cane. I spent months in physical therapy. And during this time, he was working finally, but he wasn't helping at all with the baby. At the time, I still lived at my parents' house, and they had a 2-story house. I lived in the basement. Kitchen and everything like that was upstairs. There was a living room downstairs, so thankfully I was able to just kind of hang out down there, but I had to have someone stay with me the whole time because I wasn't able to walk, so therefore I wasn't really able to tend to a crawling baby. During this time, there wasn't any physical abuse. It was more mentally abusive, but I love you, and this is why I'm telling you that, if that makes sense. So, not long after Zoe's first birthday, which was in December, we decided to move into our own apartment together. Now, at the time, we only had one vehicle, and he was working at this time. So, me and the baby would stay home while he worked. I was still on a cane, but I was getting around for the most part, able to care for my little girl. This is when the verbal abuse really started to happen. So everything that I did was my fault. The way I put up his laundry, the items I bought at the grocery store, the time I put the baby to bed, anything you can think of, like, oh, you didn't sweep and mop the floors today, even though I swept and mopped them yesterday, and there's 3 people live here and the floors are clean. I was a piece of shit. The first time he ever put his hands on me was in that apartment, and I was absolutely petrified. So this was the first time I had ever called my parents and told them about what was going on. And we only lived a couple minutes away from my parents. My dad got straight in a car and drove there and was ready to someone. Like, he was upset. So I packed my stuff and I moved back in with my mom. 98% of women who leave go back. I wish that I could have said that would have been the first time I left, but sadly, I left many, many, many more times after that. So I forgave him. He called, cried. It would never happen again. I moved back in, and things were pretty good for several months. Our lease had ran out. We had signed a 6-month lease. Our lease ran out, so we decided to buy a fixer-upper trailer and move it down by his family's house. His family was very loving and supporting, and they did help out a lot with our daughter. So that was a plus side, being close to them. But he almost had me like in his element, like an area where he felt comfortable at. So once we moved in, this is when a lot of the started. At this point, I had left him numerous times, and the physical abuse just continued to happen. But whenever I would leave, he would threaten himself if I didn't get back with him. He would burn his house down with him in it. He couldn't live without his kids. I was the best thing that ever happened to him. Like, whenever I would leave, he would praise me, and I'm the best mom ever, and I'm beautiful, and he loves me, and he don't know what he would do without me. But yet, as soon as I would go back, within a week or two, it was right back to the same trauma. And why I didn't just leave and stay gone is what a lot of people are going to ask, but you've clearly never been in love with a narcissist. When you love somebody as much as I loved that man at one point in time, you would do anything for him. Like, lay down and take a bullet for this person, the same as you would your kids. But sadly, that love wasn't 50-50. I felt that way for him, and for me, I was just a person that he could mooch off of. I had finally decided, okay, this is enough. I'm leaving. I'm taking all of my stuff, because I would only take like a small bag. I thought, okay, this is it. I'm taking all of my stuff, and I'm getting my own apartment. So family and friends come together and helped me move. I got moved into an apartment, and things were going great. It had only been a few weeks, but I had never felt so free. You got to think, I got pregnant at 16 years old, and at this time, I had a 2-year-old baby, and I had lived this traumatic life with somebody that I thought loved me, and come to find out, he never loved me. He loved abusing me. Just when I thought that I was finally free, I was late on my period. So I took a pregnancy test, and lo and behold, I was pregnant with baby number 2. I was married to a man who is now in prison for 45 years for murder, and this is my story, part 5. Yep, you heard that right. I found out I was pregnant 3 weeks after leaving him. So, what does any person do? I call him. We meet up. I tell him I'm pregnant. And the first thing out of his mouth is, oh, it's not my baby. Yeah, sir. It is. I've been with you since I was 16 years old. Just because I'm 20 doesn't mean I've been cheating around on you. I had been faithful to this man the whole time we was together, even though he walked out on me several times. During my pregnancy, the physical abuse had stopped, but the verbal abuse was still there. I was so heartbroken. Like, I love my daughter so much, but I did not want to have another child with this man. He was not a good father to my first child, so I knew he wouldn't be a good dad to my second child. But what do? I get back with him. Well, let me rephrase that. I almost had to beg him to get back with me. And I cannot even believe that I stooped to that level of low to beg a man to get back with me. But like I said, I loved this man, and I thought, I don't know, I guess I just thought I could change him. So we decided to try to work things out. At the time, he had a really close buddy that he was letting stay with him in our house. But like I said, I had moved out and got my own apartment. This all happened really quickly. But he had been coming over to my place, and things were really good. After I pretty much begged him to get back with me, we decided, we'd take things really slow. I would stay at my place, he would stay at his, and we would try to mend the broken relationship that we had. We knew we was both having another baby, so we wanted to make the best of our family. One night, he wasn't texting me back, and if you know me in real life, then you know, just a little psycho. Well, I decided to go down to his house, and whenever I pulled in, there was a car there, and I thought, this is weird. But at the same time, his dad's transmission shop was in the same area that we lived in. So we lived in a single wide trailer like this, and the garage was here. So it was really nothing unusual to see other people's cars there. But that night, something just didn't sit right with me. So I get out of the car, I walk up to the door, and it was locked. I could hear people inside, but I couldn't get anyone to come to the door. Well, honey, I ain't the one that's just going to get back in my car and leave. So I start pounding on it a little bit harder. Well, he finally comes to the door and slips out and shuts the door behind him. And I'm like, what's going on? Why did you not want to come to the door? And he was like, oh, I was asleep. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, can I come in? He said, no, I don't really think you need to come in. I said, this was my house 3 weeks ago. We're trying to work things out. You're staying at my place, I'm staying at yours, but I can't come inside. Well, y'all already know why I couldn't come inside. He had some bitch-ass hoe up in there. Like I said, if you know me, you know me. So I started hollering, come on out here, bitch. Come on. Because I had never been able to catch him red-handed with somebody, but I know that he had cheated on me. So she finally comes outside, and I'm a fit to be tied. I'm trying to get her to fight, and she's not about it. She keeps saying, oh, you're pregnant, no. And looking back, that was so stupid of me to try to fight somebody over this man, for one, let alone pregnant. Well, since she wouldn't fight me, a little bit more of my craziness come out. I don't carry her anymore. She stays at home, but I used to carry a softball bat in my vehicle. Her name is Sally, and she was my ride or die. She was by my side at all times. You got to think, I lived domestic violence with this man, and I had to defend myself. So I go get Sally out of the car, and I tell her she got till the time I get to 5 to be getting in her car leaving, or it'll be the biggest mistake of her life. Well, to make a long story short, she didn't leave. And when she did leave, she didn't have no headlights, no taillights, or no windshield. Thankfully, she never pressed charges on me, but she never come back either, to say the least. That I know of. She thought, or she realized, one, this bitch is crazy, I'm not doing this, and she skirted. So we end up getting back together. I move in back with him into our house, trailer, whatever. And this is when more shit just continues to get worse. And the red flags was there, and honey, I must have thought it was a circus ride because I just kept staying and kept getting on the ride. Out of all the baby appointments that you go to. He went to one appointment. Yep, you got that right, one, and it was the anatomy scan. When they done the ultrasound and told us that she was a girl, he was pissed. We had our oldest daughter with us, and he took her and went to the car and left me with the ultrasound tech in the room. Like, he was mad because it wasn't a boy. That's when he was back on the whole, it's not my baby, I'm not coming with you to the doctor, you can stay here, but I'm not raising nobody else's kid, you're a piece of shit. And then the next day, I love you, I know it's my baby, I'll come to the next appointment. The next appointment rolls around, he doesn't come. With my oldest daughter, I went into labor, but with my middle daughter, our second child, I was induced at like 39 weeks and 2 days. Well, he said that he wasn't coming to the hospital until I got further along because he wasn't staying up there all day waiting. So my mom and my sister stayed with me the whole time. And as I'm getting further along, my mom is calling him and she's like, hey, you need to get here. Like, she's in full blown active labor and we're going to be having this baby any minute. Phone call after phone call after phone call. He never answered. My dad even went looking for him before he came up to the hospital. No one could find him. So, I mean, my body doesn't have any other reaction but then to keep going. My mom and my sister ended up being in the delivery room with me, and my mom is the one who cut her umbilical cord. And I'm just so proud that it was her and that my sister got to experience that with me, because it was honestly so much more peaceful not having him there. When he finally did get to the hospital, he was pissed because he claimed that no one let him know. But yet my mom showed him where she had called him probably 75 times and left numerous voicemails, even called his parents. Once they got me moved to the postpartum unit, he held her for the first time. And that's when he confronted my mom, saying that she never let him know that I was in labor. And he made my family leave the hospital.
Of course, she continued the story time, which we're going to be doing in another video. So, you guys, what is your take on this story time, the very first part of the story time? So, for you to watch the second part, you have to stick around. We're going to post the video later on today, right? So, what is your take on this particular one? Let me know your thought down in the comment section, respectfully. Am I the only one that is not a fan of all these high school lovers and all of that? The fact that you met somebody where you were young, you fell in love and all of that, doesn't mean you guys should get married. Because I feel like most of the time, what if we don't even know what you're doing? I just feel like enjoy that high school or that college love while it lasts. Most of the time, because you've known somebody for a long time or when you were young, I just feel like it feels like it's a normal thing. We've known each other, we understand each other, let's just get married and let's continue having babies. I feel like that is one of the wrongest move ever, because you know somebody where while you were growing up, you're growing up with a person does not mean that you should spend the rest of your life with the person. He was abusing her, he was cheating on her, he was doing everything, but she still got pregnant again, and she kept the baby. And then she stated that the first pregnancy, when she had her oldest child, oldest daughter, he was a terrible father. Like, he did not even care about the pregnancy. He was not there for her. But then later on in the years, maybe she was thinking it's going to change, and they got back together. They'll go anytime she wants to divorce or anytime she wants to leave him. He tells her how amazing she is. He tells her he cannot, do without her. She falls for it and go back. He gets back to his normal self. She goes again. He begs her to come back. You see those pattern. One thing that I learned about this part one of this story time is men don't change. I just take them for who they are. For real. Take them for who they are. Because no matter how much you keep, okay, let me give him benefit of that. Let me see if he's going to change. Okay, let me see. Let me see. You're wasting your time. You're wasting more of your time with these people. You guys, what is your take on this part one of the story time? I'll see you guys at the end at part two of the story time. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section respectfully as always. Sugar Mara Davis, and thank you so much for tuning in today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. forget to like and share and subscribe. And I'll see you in my next one, guys. Bye.